The Outlanders Journey. Performed for you by Catherine Bucciariello. Tier 1. Stranger is the X. Stranger is the X that stands in for a proper name. It is the placeholder for the missing, the mark of the passage, the scar between native and citizen. Sadia Hartman's Lose Your Mother. Level 0, Chapter 1. Arc. You awaken to a soft blue light filtering through an unfamiliar window. A breeze rushes in, and the scent is that of crisp and earthy air, reminiscent of an approaching autumn. As you stir in your bed, you find yourself lying on your stomach. It's strange. The last date you recall is the end of the 4th month, when it was swelteringly hot, and flying season was at its summer peak. You crane your neck to one side, peering around at the unknown room. Your shoulders are stiff, and a sharp pain pulses through your left wing. The leaves rustle outside, and you recall some of the final sensations of your last waking memory: the cracking of a tree branch, the ripping of your performance clothes, the digging of something sharp through your wing, the rending of your feathers, and the screaming of a crowd far below you as you plummeted from the sky. Now your left arm is propped up in a brace, your talons chipped and brittle. The walls of this room are gray and undecorated. There's an open window, a wooden door, the bed you're lying in, and a small nightstand. On top of the stand is a bronze statuette depicting a faceless human woman, her arms raised up and her wings extended out. You recognize her as a depiction of the deity that Errol worships. There's a small, leather-bound book tucked next to the statuette. In golden letters, it is titled The Gift of the Everlight in Sylvan, Aarakocra, Elvish, and another language you can't read. A bell tolls 3 times outside, jolting you. Footsteps scurry across a hallway, both above and below you. A single individual shuffles briskly past your room. Help! Your throat is hoarse. You clear your airway and force your voice to carry. Can someone help me, please? The footsteps halt and then scramble towards your door. It bursts open. A halfling woman, no taller than 3 feet, donning red robes similar to Errol's, bursts inside. She covers her mouth with her hands, and for a moment she only stares at you. "Oh my goodness," she finally says. "You're awake!" She rushes to you. "Please, lie back down. Your wounds haven't fully healed." You've managed to prop yourself up on your right elbow. An ache creeps up your back, and you let yourself drop again onto your stomach. "Do you remember your name?" the woman asks. She tucks you back in. There are freckles peppering her cheeks, and her round spectacles magnify her eyes to an unnaturally large size. "My name is, Ark. Do you remember where you live?" Southern region of the INA. "Do you remember where you were before this?" "I was competing at the Summer Sky Festival." The woman nods. "What date is it?" you ask. "It's the 3rd of the 6th month." It takes you a moment to process the passage of time. "I've been out for over a month?" She nods again. "Is this a temple?" "Yes. You are at the Temple of Salvation right now. We have been taking care of you for some time. Luckily, Sister Errol has been here to—" Her eyes widen. "Oh my goodness! I need to tell Sister Errol. Please, stay where you are. I'll be right back." And before you know it, she shuffles out of the room without closing the door. All you can do now is wait, but it's a relief to hear Errol's name. She was the last person you spoke to on the day of the competition. She was giving you her usual pep talk, but the words weren't reaching you. She had placed her hands on your shoulders, helping you breathe through your abnormal anxiety. All you could sense was a heaviness in your wings. The crowd was particularly rowdy that day, as if jeering at you, and halfway through the routine, during the triple loop, you over-rotated, and a strong gust of wind blew you off course, sending you spinning. You no longer knew if you were flying up or falling down, and as you spiraled, it was as though the crowd's screaming was coalescing into Coach S's voice, berating and threatening you. A sharp pain began to dig into your wing, and something warm and wet started to flow down your arm. Then the ground was suddenly right there. "Ark!" Errol's voice rings out. Your best friend stands by the door, breathing heavily. She's glowing like she's the source of the light outside. She is donning a new set of clothing, maroon and gold robes with a blue sash around her waist. Her hair is tied up neatly in a bun, shorter than it was before. She rushes to you, ready to go in for a hug. "Hi," you say. Errol laughs. "Hi." She takes your head gingerly into her arms. You nuzzle into her shoulder. "Sorry for worrying you." The halfling woman, panting, arrives back in the room. Hobbling behind her, a stout and elderly dwarven woman also enters. Her face is stern, and she is leaning heavily into her walking stick. Her robes are sewn with a detailed golden embroidery, and the same symbol of the goddess with wings is depicted on her mitre. "I'm just glad you're awake," says Errol. "I was out for a bit, huh? I hope I wasn't too much trouble." No. "I'm sorry." "You don't need to apologize," she says. "But do you remember what happened?" You pull away. "It's slowly coming back to me. It felt like everything happened all at once." Errol nods. "Who won?" you ask. "The competition. Did Uvir win?" Errol blinks with a puzzled expression. "I don't know. Sorry, I stopped paying attention after what happened." "Oh, I guess that makes sense. You were probably taking care of me, huh?" Errol sighs. "Yeah, but I didn't do all that much. The medics knew what to do. They stabilized you really quickly, thankfully." "Oh, that's good. I guess I'll have to wait till next year to compete again, huh? All that practice for nothing. I bet Coach is furious." You let out a chuckle to lighten the mood. Errol turns and stares at the dwarven woman before looking back to you. "What's wrong?" you ask. "Your wing," says Errol. "How does it feel? I know you just woke up, but is it in a lot of pain?" You prop yourself back up again, pulling your right elbow in. Errol pushes you up by the chest and holds you steady. You peek over your shoulder to your left wing. You try to extend it, but the pain immediately grips you. It's wrapped in translucent bandages, the gash running from your scapula all the way to the tip. "Don't force yourself," says Errol. "It's still pretty tender," you say. "I guess it's going to need more time." You lower yourself back down slowly. Errol nods. "How long will it take to heal, do you think? I bet Coach won't be happy to see me lying in bed all the time instead of training." Errol retracts her hand, returning to her kneeling position by your bed. "Ark," says the dwarven woman, stepping forward. The cane bangs on the floor. "My name is Vavina. I am the High Priestess here. As I understand it, you and Sister Errol are close friends. I know she has been working hard to take care of you while you have been resting." You nod. Vavina places a hand on Errol's shoulder, who obsequiously folds her arms over her lap, lowering her head. "What I can tell you for certain now," says Vavina, "is that your coach is not here, and he will not be coming here. Where you are now is safe. We want you to take as much time as you need to recover." Errol nods, still looking down. "Is it really bad?" you ask. Again, it is not something we know for certain. Only time will tell, says Vavena. She removes her mitre, revealing her gray hair, neatly braided. Ari? You ask. Errol takes a deep breath, but before she responds, Vavena intervenes again. We sent for an acolyte to fetch a special ointment for us. We are seeing if it can speed up the healing process. It has unique properties that may work better than our current methods. Now that you are awake, Sister Errol can also begin some physical therapy so that you can at least walk again. Errol nods, gazing back up at you. That ointment might be what we need to prevent any permanent damage. You hear the full sentence, but only one word sticks. Permanent? You say. No, I meant... We want you to be able to fly again just as much as you do, says Vavena. We promise we'll do everything we can. If I don't recover or the ointment doesn't work, what will that mean? You ask. We think you can fly, says Errol. We actually think there's a really good chance the ointment will work. You shift your attention back and forth between the two of them. The halfling woman behind them sways nervously. But, you ask. We will take it one day at a time, says Vavena. I'd rather know what to expect, you say. Errol and Vavena share another look. Ark, says Vavena, when we talk about recovery, we truly mean for you to be able to fly again. Flying, we believe, is within the realm of possibilities for you, but I am sure you understand that there is a difference between flying for sport and flying as a means of moving around. So you're saying I might not be able to compete anymore, you say. We will do everything we can, Ark, says Vavena. You shake your head. A familiar pressure restricts your chest. Are you saying I have to retire? Even in the best-case scenario? Your voice is high-pitched and fast. Vavena's face is solemn. She lifts herself off the cane, straightening her posture. I understand it is hard to process everything right now, so we want you to take all the time you need. For now, we think it is best for you to focus on resting and recovery. What happens in the future is still uncertain. We should prioritize acquiring that ointment for you and getting your strength back. Once more, you hear the words, but it's not sticking. It's as though she's speaking in slow motion, and suddenly, Errol is far from you. Ari? You say, reaching for her pathetically. You know I can't retire. Not now. Vavena takes her hand off Errol's shoulder, and Errol pulls your head into her arms again. Her hands are cold. There's a ringing in your ears. What else will I do with my life if I can't compete anymore? You say. It's strange. Even as you're speaking, it's as though you're not the one talking. You feel your beak moving, the air flowing out of your vocal cords, but it's like this isn't you. The news is about someone else, not you. I'm gonna do everything I can, okay? Says Errol. I promise. She caresses your face. As soon as I figure out how, I'll make sure to heal you, fully, and you'll be the best aerial acrobat again. I'll make it my life's mission. You're part of our temple now, and the Everlight is known for performing great miracles. I swear I'll do that for you. In her eyes, there's a fear behind a veil of resolve. Errol has never been good at masking her emotions. She's trying to hold you steady, but her whole body is shaking. On the day of the competition, you were jittery for some reason. There was a burden of expectation that had never weighed you down before. Maybe it had always been there, but you could always manage it before you became famous. Errol was kneeling before you, chanting, "Breathe in, breathe out," over and over. You followed her directions while looking into her eyes. You saw then, just as you see now, that she looked more afraid than you felt. Her hands were trembling like they are now. When she asked if you felt better, the need in her expression told you that you could only say yes. You put your hands over hers and squeeze. You speak what you're obliged to say to your beloved best friend. Okay, I trust you. You can do it. Her eyes soften, and she offers you a tremulous smile. You wonder what was going through her head when you fell. Did she blame herself for coming up with the choreography that precipitated such a mess-up? How great of a debt does she believe she owes you now? You resolve yourself to your fate of retirement, of dying alone in obscurity, pondering this: who, between the two of you, is more responsible for the other?